Let's make lemon chicken and orzo soup. Hi there, I'm Lulu and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel. This is a really easy and quick meal, so let's get started. First we're going to chop up all our ingredients, starting with garlic, and I'm just going to use the microplane to mince this up. If you don't have a microplane, you can use a garlic press, or use garlic in the jar. Just use what you have, it'll be fine. I have read that preparing garlic this way makes it taste stronger. That's just fine by me. All done, so let's just get this out of the way and chop up the other vegetables. This recipe calls for 1 small onion, but I have a huge onion, so I'll just use half of it. I'm going to dice up this onion plus the carrots and celery, but I have a secret weapon and I can't wait to show you. I got this cool new gadget.
Get to the chopper!
This is my cool new chopper. This chopper made dicing all these vegetables so easy. You have to kind of slam the lid down really hard, so get out all your angry energy out on these vegetables. Look at that perfect dice. And if you're in a hurry or distracted, you don't have to worry about cutting yourself. This seems like an ad for the chopper, but it isn't. I just think it's really cool. If you're cutting the vegetables by hand, just make sure all the pieces are the same size. Like this. So pretty. Alright, let's chop up this chicken. This is 1 pound of chicken breast. I'm just going to chop it up into bite-sized pieces. We're making soup after all, so we want the pieces to be small enough. I'm using boneless, skinless chicken breast here, but you could use chicken thighs too, if you like them. Okay, that's all done. Let's go make our soup. Don't forget to sanitize after cutting chicken. In a large Dutch oven over medium-high heat, I'm adding a tablespoon of olive oil. Once that's hot, add the chicken. Sauté the chicken until it's completely cooked and slightly golden brown. Add salt and pepper. Once the chicken is cooked to your liking, remove it and set aside. That looks good to me. Add another tablespoon of olive oil and your veggies and the minced garlic. Stir that for a minute and then add more salt and pepper. Next I'll add 1 teaspoon of dried thyme. Cook until the onions start to soften, just a few minutes. In goes 4 cups or 1 liter of chicken stock, 3 bay leaves, and a cup of water. I may add another cup later if it needs it. Bring all that to a boil. And then add back your chicken, 3/4 of a cup of orzo pasta and 1 branch of rosemary. Lower the heat to a simmer and cook for about 10 minutes or until the orzo is done. At this point, if it looks like it needs more water, you can add another cup. I'm just going to remove the rosemary and the bay leaves from the soup. To finish this soup, I'm going to add the juice from 1 lemon and a handful of fresh parsley. Stir that in and let's give it a taste and see if it needs more salt and pepper. Yep, just a bit more salt, I think. This recipe makes 6 servings. And there you have lemon, chicken, and orzo soup. The leftovers from this soup freeze really well. We had this for dinner, and now I have 4 lunches to take to work. Serve this with a nice crusty bread for dipping. The link to the full recipe will be in the description box below. Let's make this rich and creamy potato and bacon soup. Perfect for a fall day. It's full of yellow fleshed potatoes, bacon, cream, celery, and fresh thyme leaves. It's really good. To this large Dutch oven, I'm adding 6 slices of chopped bacon and cooking them until they're crispy. Yeah, that looks good. I'm going to take out a few pieces for garnish. I'm just putting them on this paper towel lined plate to drain a little bit. Now that the bacon is cooked, I'm going to add 2 stalks of sliced celery, 2 chopped small shallots, and 1 tablespoon of fresh thyme leaves. I'm going to stir all that together so it all gets coated in the bacon fat. It smells so good right now. I'm just cooking this until the celery gets soft. Now I'm going to add 6 to 7 medium-sized yellow flesh potatoes. I think these are Yukon Gold. I peeled and chopped the potatoes into bite-sized pieces. You could use any soft skin potato here, as long as you peel it and cut it into bite-sized pieces. I wouldn't use russet potatoes. I think they're too grainy for this recipe. Now I'm just stirring it all together so the potatoes are all coated in that bacon fat. Next, I'm adding 4 cups or 1 liter of chicken stock. You want the liquid to cover the potatoes. Looks good to me. Now I'm going to stir it all together and bring it to a boil. This might take a while because my chicken stock was cold and it's going to take a long time to heat up again. Now that it's boiling, I'm going to move this to a different burner so that I can make a roux. In another large pot over medium-high heat, I'm adding 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of butter. You're going to get that melted and bubbling. You do want to use a large pot for this, and you'll see why in a minute. It really does bubble up a lot. Here I'm turning down the heat just a little bit. Once that butter is all melted, I'm going to add 2½ tablespoons of all-purpose flour and stir that in until it's nice and smooth. I'm switching to a whisk here. Note that it's silicone coated so it won't scratch my pot. I'm going to keep whisking until it's nice and smooth. Continue whisking until the roux is thickened and turning this nice amber color. Now you're going to see why we need such a large pot for this. I'm going to add 2 cups or 500 milliliters heavy cream, just a bit at a time. See how it bubbles up? My glass is just steamed up. Keep adding the cream a little bit at a time. You want it to stop bubbling in between each addition. You want to get it nice and smooth and mix in all that flour, but you don't want the cream to burn, so keep stirring. Clearly, I'm making a huge mess and splashing everywhere. I'm going to add the rest of the cream now. Once that's smooth and thickened, I'm going to remove it from the heat. I'm going to move the soup back over to the burner. Oh, it's looking really good. I'm just going to test one of these potatoes to see if it's done. Almost done, just a few more minutes. I'm going to give that a stir, and then I'm going to add in that roux mixture. I want to get every little bit in there. Once that's in there, I'm going to let it simmer over medium heat for another 10 minutes or so. I'm going to test the potatoes one more time. Looks like they're done. I'm going to turn off the heat for a few minutes before digging in because these potatoes are hot as lava. Let me know if you make this potato and bacon soup. As always, you could find the full printable recipe on my blog. The link will be in the description box below. When it's cold and rainy outside, make some cozy roasted butternut squash soup. It has all the comfy fall flavors of squash, carrot, apple, sage, and maple syrup. Let's get started. Peel and dice 2 small butternut squash, or 1 large one. You want about 3 pounds of squash. Add that to a 13x9 baking dish. Peel and dice 3 medium carrots and add that to the squash. Now this is totally optional, but I'm adding 3 cloves of peeled garlic. Now I'll toss that with 3 tablespoons of olive oil and then add salt and pepper. Now put this in a 425-degree Fahrenheit oven for about 45 minutes. You'll know it's done when the squash is soft and you can barely pierce the carrots with a fork. While the squash is cooking, we're going to peel and chop 1 apple. Dice half a large or 1 small onion. Now let's chop the herbs. I have a small handful of fresh sage leaves. I like to stack them and then roll them to make it easier to chop. You can substitute with 2 teaspoons of dried sage. Now we'll chop up some fresh thyme. Remove the small leaves from the stems. Here's an easy way to do it. Take 1 stem at a time and pull down with your fingers. This will remove all the leaves very easily, just like that. You can substitute 1 teaspoon of dried thyme. Here's a variation for my pumpkin spice friendos. Substitute pumpkin spice for the sage and thyme.
You're a genius.
Here's a pro tip on storing your fresh herbs. Take a damp paper towel and wrap around the cut ends of the herbs. Then store it in a plastic bag. Leave the bag open on one end for air circulation and store it in the refrigerator. This will keep the herbs fresh for longer. Now let's cook our soup. In a large pot over medium heat, add 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Once that's hot, add the onion and cook for about 10 minutes or until the onions are translucent. When the onion looks like this, add the apple. Stir and cook for a couple of minutes and then add the sage and thyme. By now the squash and carrots should be done, so take them out of the oven and add them to the pot. Carefully, it's very hot. Stir to mix that all together and then add 4 cups of chicken stock. Bring that to a boil and then reduce the heat to a gentle simmer and cook for another 20 minutes. Turn off the heat and add maple syrup. Stir that in very well. The last thing we'll do is blend the soup. Grab your immersion blender and get to work. If you don't have one, you can use a regular blender. Just do it in batches. And you're done. This is optional, but you can garnish with a big dollop of Greek yogurt or sour cream. And that's roasted butternut squash soup. Let me know in the comments if you made this recipe and if you liked it. You can find a link to the full printable recipe in the description box below. Let's make roasted tomato soup. This is my modern take on a classic favorite. Tomato soup with a grilled cheese sandwich. I've made it in the style of French onion soup, finished under the broiler with a baguette crouton and Gruyere cheese. Let's get started.
Well, it's officially fall, and if you're a gardener, you may have an overabundance of tomatoes. These are Roma tomatoes. I bought these because I am a terrible gardener. This is almost 3 pounds of tomatoes. It's 1.25 kilograms. And I'm just gonna slice them in half and put them on the sheet pan, just like that. And drizzle them with olive oil, salt and pepper. And I'm gonna do the same with some garlic as well. I place them all on the sheet pan face up, and then I'm going to drizzle on some olive oil. And salt and pepper. Now I'm going to make a little foil packet for the garlic. This is red Russian garlic I got from a local farmer. They are huge. Look how big these are. So I have 3 cloves. I'm just going to drizzle a little olive oil on there and package it up. I'm just going to tuck it onto the sheet pan with the tomatoes like this.
I'm going to put the tomatoes and the garlic in the oven at 400 degrees until they're collapsed and nicely charred. These tomatoes are pretty large, so they took about 2 hours. Just make sure you keep an eye on them and take them out when they're done. This is how you want them to look when they're done. The tomatoes have collapsed and they're slightly charred around the edges.
Now I'm going to put everything in the food processor and blend it together. I'm just going to pulse it for a little bit. I don't want it perfectly smooth. A little chunky is okay.
That's what she said.
If you don't have a food processor, you can use a blender or a stick blender or whatever you have. Now I'm going to cook the soup.
Add the processed tomatoes and garlic to a stock pot. Add 4 cups or 1 liter of chicken stock. A 1/4 teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. You can add more if you like it spicy. 1 teaspoon of dried thyme. Bring the soup to a boil over high heat and then reduce to a simmer and cook for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, the soup will be a lot thicker.
Okay, soup is done. I'm going to grate some cheese. I need about a cup of grated Gruyere for 4 servings, but I'm only going to put together 1 serving right now. I just need enough cheese for 1. About that much. I'm going to slice some baguette to the top. If you've ever had French onion soup in a fancy restaurant, it's kind of like that. But instead of a grilled cheese with this tomato soup, we're going to have cheese on top of a big crouton. Yeah, that'll do it. I'll show you how to do one because I'm going to portion up the rest of this soup and freeze it for future Lulu. Because sometimes life gets really overwhelming and it's hard to make decisions about what to eat and the existential dread starts to pile on. Let's make soup. I've turned the broiler on. Good. I put an oven-safe bowl on a sheet pan. And we're going to take our bread, just float that on the top, and then cover it with the Gruyere cheese. Perfect. And into the broiler.
Broil until the cheese is melted and golden brown. And that's roasted tomato soup. Let me know in the comments if you made this recipe and if you liked it. The link to the full recipe is in the description box below. Thanks for hanging out with me today. As always, I appreciate you. And if you could do me a favor, please like, subscribe, and share. Those things really do help out a small channel. Thanks for watching.
You ready to pay the cheese tax? Are you ready? Can you sit? Good boy, can you see him? Are you very gentle? Good boy.
You need to pay the bread tax.
No bread tax. No bread tax without representation, Cooper.
No, I meant for me.
For you?
Bread tax for me.
Gotta pay the cameraman too.
Let's make Italian sausage and tortellini soup. It's creamy and spicy and incredibly warming on a cold day. Let's get started. In a large pot over medium-high heat, add a package of Italian sausage. This is the hot flavor. You can use the kind that come as links, just remove the sausage from the casings first. Add diced onion. This is half of a large sweet onion. Cook that until the sausage is completely cooked and the onion is softened. I'm using this ground meat tool thing, and it makes it so easy to crumble this sausage. It takes like half the time to do this. When the sausage is cooked, drain away the excess grease before you continue. Here's an easy way to remove excess fat when browning ground meat. Scooch the meat over to one side of the pot. Take a folded paper towel and using tongs, just blot up that excess grease. And there's no need to take the pot away from the stove. Look at what I was able to remove. Now add 3 cloves of minced garlic. I'm stirring that for just a minute and then I'm adding 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Stir that for another minute until the flour is well mixed in, then add your herbs. I don't have any fresh herbs today, so I'm going to make this really simple and add 1 tablespoon of this Italian seasoning blend. This is a blend of rosemary, basil, parsley, and thyme. This brand also has a bit of dehydrated onion, garlic, and red pepper. It makes it super easy to add a ton of flavor really quickly. Now add half a teaspoon of black pepper and a good pinch of salt. I like it spicy, so I'll add a couple of shakes of some red pepper flakes. Stir in all those spices and add 6 cups or 1400 milliliters of chicken stock. Stir and scrape up those brown bits from the bottom of the pot and then add 1 cup or 250 milliliters of heavy cream. Bring the soup to a boil and then reduce to a gentle simmer. Add a package of refrigerated cheese tortellini and cook until done. Mine took about 6 minutes. When the tortellini is done, add 2 handfuls of chopped baby spinach. You only have to stir it until it's wilted and then taste to see if you need more salt. And you're done! You made spinach and tortellini soup in under 30 minutes. Let me know in the comments if you made this recipe and if you liked it. You can find the link to the full printable recipe in the description box below. Let's make chicken gnocchi soup. It's cheap and it's quick. Let's go! Hey you! Yes you! It's 1 week till payday. Do you have any money left? Well, do you? Do you need to eat food? Your challenge! Make a week of lunches from what we can find in your kitchen. Let's find some ingredients. Do you have any vegetables? Audience, our contestant has found vegetables. Let's see what she has found. 1 onion, 1 carrot, 1½ stalks of celery. Looks like our contestant got lucky and found the last 2 garlic cloves. And what is this now? The last of the spinach? We'll use that too. Now tell me, do you have any chicken stock? Think now, do you have any chicken stock concentrate? Audience, our contestant has found chicken stock concentrate. That will do just fine. Do you have any spices? Audience, our contestant has found Italian seasoning. Well done. Now we need some protein. Do you have any cooked meat? Looks like you found some grilled chicken breasts. Very good. Now go find a starch. It could be noodles or rice. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a plot twist. She has found gnocchi. That will make a delicious filling soup indeed. The last thing we need is some heavy cream. Do you have any? What about milk? Think now. You can almost see the wheels turning. What about canned milk? And there she goes. Looks like she's found evaporated milk. Very good. Congratulations! You found everything needed to make chicken gnocchi soup. Let's get started. Well, that was fun. We'll start by dicing up this small onion. Then I'll chop up 2 garlic cloves. Grate 1 carrot, no need to peel it. And dice your celery. Roughly chop the spinach. Cut the chicken into bite-sized pieces. Now let's cook the soup. In a pot over medium heat, add 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Add the carrots, onions, celery, and garlic. Cook and stir until the onions are translucent. Add a tablespoon of Italian seasoning. When the onions are done, add the chicken. Stir, 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 and then add the chicken stock. Turn up the heat and bring the soup up to a boil. Once boiling, add the gnocchi and cook for another 3 to 4 minutes. Add the cream and the spinach. Continue cooking until the spinach has wilted. Give the soup a taste and add salt and pepper if necessary. And that's it, you're done. The whole thing barely took 20 minutes.
Okay, let's give this a taste. This is really fast. It's so creamy. Piping hot. That's really good. I'm glad I picked gnocchi. It's really satisfying and really, really delicious. Now I have all of this soup for my lunches for the next week and a half at least. And it cost me nothing because everything I already had. Let's pack this up.
After I pack up this soup, it's going in the freezer. That way I can just grab one of these when I'm late for work, which is every day.
7 lunches. If you make this soup, let me know what you think. I think it's pretty good for a struggle meal.
As always, you can find the link to the recipe in the description box below. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It really does help. Thanks for watching.